Good morning, students. Today we are going to revise this lesson. Yesterday I said we are going to start. This has already been done. We are making revisions. We are going to do today lesson number 7, Evans tries an O-level. The protagonist of this story is such a person who is appearing in an exam. This is one thing which the title suggests, tries an O-level. He appears in an exam of language and they call it O-level. The another thing is Evans has been known in the story as a man who breaks the prison, and Evans the Break is his name as per the story. And no matter whatever things have been done to stop him in the prison, he's every time successful. And the story ends that in the end also he's very much successful and he runs away from the jail. Or he doesn't reach the jail. He runs from outside only when they go and go to catch him. He runs from there only. Evans the Break, the person who breaks the prison many times. He has done this thing 3 times earlier also. Let us move further. Yes. Okay. Evans tries an O-level. The story, let us make a little summarizing way of the, let us move in a summary way or go through the summary of the story. The story tells about Evans, a prisoner who wants to appear in O-level exam in German to escape. He is cunning and contrives to dodge the authority. The prison authority, he all the time deceives them. He's every time in deceiving, right? He's cunning, and the prison authority arranges his test in his cell and beef up security there. He's kept in utter security, and prison officer Stevens keeps on watching in the cell after every minute through a peephole. After some time, the prison authority receives a call from examination board regarding a correction slip. Let me tell you, dear students, the characters, the secretary of the examinations board, the governor, James Evans, a prisoner, Mr. Jackson and Stephens, prison officers. So we have discussed here the prison officer and Reverend McLeary, an invigilator who has been called, and 2 detective superintendents, one Mr. Carter and another Mr. Bell, detective chief inspector. Right? So the story begins this way, that he wants to appear in an exam and he requests the prison authorities. The governor of HM Prison, Oxford, and the prison officer authority talks to the secretary, and the secretary gives the permission. Secretary of examinations board give the permission for a prisoner to appear in the exam. After some time, when the exam starts, they keep a strict check on him, and after commencement of the exam, Evans got the permission, but prison authority receives a call from the examination board regarding a correction slip. Evans got the permission from the invigilator. The next part of the story tells us that he is allowed to put a blanket around him as he was feeling cold while taking that exam. McCleary, the invigilator, leaves the prison escorted by Stephens on the record or on the order of the governor of the prison. So, McCleary, who has been invited, who has been called to do the duty of the invigilator, was also a friend of Evans. Stephens finds a person on Evans' chair in wounded condition. The wounded invigilator tells him that McCleary has gone towards Elsfield. He gets to know this through a photocopied sheet pasted on the last blank page of the question paper. Point number 9, dear students, this means that the wounded invigilator, when the exam gets over, the invigilator McCleary is wounded and sitting on the chair. And one of the person who has gone out, they consider him as Evans, that Evans has run away, he has injured McCleary and leaves. They come to know. He gets to know this through a photocopied sheet pasted at the blank page of the question paper, that this person who has run away now from the jail as McCleary is, this information was at the back of the paper, came as a correction and all, or at the back of the question paper. He accompanies the police party to help it find the culprit. When the culprit has run away, they go and find out. And in this process, the detective superintendent informs the governor of Evans being near Elsfield, way Headington roundabout, but he could not be traced later. He also informs that the wounded invigilator has been sent to Redcliffe's hospital. The hospital people inform that there has been no patient and no one knows about him. Then the governor understands that the wounded invigilator is actually Evans. The real invigilator, the real McCleary, is found tied in the study since 8:15 a.m. Now this was a twist in the story, that the person who has left as Evans was a friend of Evans who has come as invigilator. The real McCleary was in his apartment, gagged and tied. And the one who was injured was Evans himself. How did he manage all these things and deceive them? The analysis of the hints helped the governor to nab Evans again in Golden Lion and Chipping Norton in a hotel. He confesses everything but again flees away. And he outsmarts the authorities fourth time and has his last laugh. This was the story in points. Right, dear students? So, let me explain the story in detail, whatever we have understood through these points, that there is a person, Evans, who's trying an O-level and his governor is helping him and allowing him to take this exam, that is German O-level exam. And for this, they do arrangements, and a lot of arrangements. And what are those arrangements? Dear students, that there is a strict security. One of the officers is made to stand outside and peep through the window hole to check what is happening inside. And there are two people inside. McCleary, the invigilator, and the examinee who is taking the exam, that is Evans, our protagonist. And still he runs away, injuring the invigilator. Later on, they come to know and find out that the one who is injured is Evans. Now the friend has also already gone as McCleary, and the injured person has also run away. And finally, with the help of some slips and some cues and clues, the prison governor finds out where he is. He catches him. Again, in the end, he runs away. So let me share the text and let us move the story in this way. I hope you can see the screen. Yes. Let us discuss the story now, keeping the text before us. That was the summary in few points which I shared with you. This chapter has been done. We are again making a revision so that for the exams we are fully prepared. Now, should criminals in prison be given opportunity of learning and education? So, this is the question which is given to ponder. Now, the characters. The secretary of the examinations board, the governor, James Evans, a prisoner, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Stephens, prison officers, Reverend McCleary, an invigilator, as we discussed. All precautions have been taken to see to it that the O-level German examination arranged in the prison for Evans does not provide him with any means of escape. He has been known that he'll escape. So they expected that he may escape again. So all the precautions were taken nicely. It was in the early March when the secretary of the examinations board received the call from Oxford prison. So Oxford prison people and the authorities called the secretary of the examinations board. It's a slightly unusual request, Governor, but I don't see why we shouldn't try to help. Just the one fellow, you say. So this way, the conversation begins and our story begins that one of the authority of the prison, the senior most authority, is calling the examination head. That's it, chap called Evans. Started night classes in O-level German last September. Says he's dead keen to get some sort of academic qualification. Is he any good? He was the only one in the class, so you can say he has had individual tuition all the time. Really would have cost him a packet if he had been outside. Well, let's give him a chance, shall we? That's jolly kind of you. So the permission granted. What exactly is the procedure now? Oh, don't worry about it. So the conversation tells us that who is speaking what dialogue, and this is the talk between examination board head and the prison head. Oh, don't worry about that. I'll be sending you all the forms and stuff. What is his name? You say Evans. James Roderick Evans. It sounded rather grand. Just one thing, Governor. He's not a violent sort of fellow, is he? So he asked, I hope he's not violent type of person. I don't want to know his criminal record or anything like that. But dear students, please underline this line that a criminal or a prisoner is taking exam and the authorities don't want to know about his criminal record. This shows their lax approach, or they are lax. They are not worried about that. No, there is no record of violence. Quite a pleasant sort of chap, they tell me. Bit of a card, really. One of the stars at the Christmas concert. Maybe interested in music and all, and a bit of as if they are making some renowned person take the exam. So praises, he praises him before the secretary, right? So imitations, Mike Yahoo stuff like that. No, he's just a kleptomaniac. Now, who is a kleptomaniac, children? Congenital. Like he's heredity wise, or he is a kleptomaniac, a person who is in habit of stealing things. He's a bit suffering from kleptomania. The governor was tempted to add something else, but he thought better of it. He would look after that particular side of things. Governor will see all these things on his own. Presumably, said the secretary, you can arrange a room where. So after granting the permission, he tells him to arrange a room, and he is in his own cell. So if you have no objections, he can sit and take the exam in there. That's fine. And we could easily get one of the parsons from St. Mary's Max to invigilate. So we'll get, and this way McCleary was brought to invigilate. And he also gives him an instruction. If you see the last third line or fourth line, children, you shouldn't have much trouble in keeping him incommunicado, should you? So you will keep him without any communication, or there should be no communication with anyone in the cell. That you have to take care. The governor chuckled politely once more, and pleasantries were shared between them, and he slowly cradled the phone. Cradled the phone as if he is very happy and he has won the battle of getting a permission from the examination board. And the question here comes by this type of approach towards a prisoner. soft approach, feeling happy to get him take the exam, in getting him being granted by the permission. Evans the Break, as the prison officer called him, thrice he had escaped from the prison. But for the recent wave of unrest in the maximum security establishments up north, he wouldn't now be gracing the governor's premises in Oxford. 3 times he has escaped from the prison, and Evans the Break, his name is being called. Dear students, I hope you are able to understand whatever we are discussing through this. Yes?
Yes.
Very good. Now, let's move further. Now that Evans was a real burden, just a persistent nagging presence, he would be all right in Oxford, though the governor would see to it. Now, these lines you can underline with a pencil, that what preparations were done by the prison authorities. The governor decided he would see to it personally. And besides, there was just a slight possibility that Evans was genuinely interested in O-level German. Just a slight possibility, very slight possibility that now he will run. So we cannot be biased without facing the situation that he will not do this time the act of running and escaping from the jail. At 8:30 p.m. on Monday, 7 June, Evans' German teacher shook him by the hand in the heavily guarded recreational block. The block was quite heavily guarded with officers, and he shook his hand with his German teacher just across from the wing. Guten Glück, her Evans. Pardon, I said good luck. So this is German, Guten Glück and all. He wanted to say good luck, Evans, for tomorrow's exam. He is appearing in German and he did not know even the meaning of good luck or Guten Glück. This also you can underline and find out how much German he would have studied in these months to appear in the exam. Is a question, was this German exam, taking exam in German language was another trick which these prison officers did not understand? Again, are they foolish that they are giving him chances? 3 times he has deceived them, and the 4th time they are giving him again the chance. Oh, thanks, I mean, dang, Sean. You haven't a cat in hell's chance of getting through, of course. Now you can underline this line also. You can underline this line because he tells him, this German teacher tells him, you haven't got a single chance of getting through this time. I may surprise everybody, said Evans. He says, I may surprise anyone. I will surprise them, everybody. So what they are talking in a concealed way. Here it appears as if they are talking about the exam, but they are talking about the escape. And this German teacher is also one of his friend. Right? So we need to keep this point in mind, that he has so many friends, and the invigilator whom they call is his friend. The German teacher is his friend, and many others in the line, those who help him in running, and that's why every time he's able to. Right? I may surprise everybody, said Evans. At 8:30 the following morning, Evans had a visitor. Right? At 8:30 the following morning, Evans had a visitor, 2 visitors in fact. He tucked his grubby string vest into his equally grubby trousers and stood up from his bunk smiling cheerfully. Morning, Mr. Jackson, this is indeed an honor. Right? So he's being, welcomed, right? And they make him wake up, and he's found in his cell. And this is indeed an honor. Jackson was the senior prison officer on D wing, and he and Evans had already become warm enemies. Dear students, I hope this much of the story is clear, that how his exam got commenced, right? So let me share a few points here. That when his exam is, we have already read this part, that the prison officer, the governor, he praises him a lot. The way they deal him, the way they tackle him, so everything is being shown as thus in a strict way. But are they really strict with him? Are they really guarding all these things, taking care of all these things? That's a question, right? Whether they are just doing for the sake of showing, or they really understand what is being responsible, what is being as a responsible prison officer and the other junior officers. There is a great difference in what you are and what you show, right? Let me share the screen again. Yes. So at 8:30 the following morning, Evans had a visitor, and this visitor was Mr. Jackson. Jackson was the senior prison officer on B wing, and he and Evans had already become warm enemies. At Jackson's side stood Officer Stephens, a burly, churly-looking man, only recently recruited to his profession. Now, this was a new officer, and one was the senior old officer. Jackson nodded curtly. And how is a little Einstein this morning then? They're calling him Einstein also, as if by running he had shown his utmost skills and intelligence. Wasn't he a mathematician, Mr. Jackson? I think he was a Jew, Mr. Jackson. So they are talking about, you know, that he even did not know that who was Einstein. Ivan's face was unshaven and he wore a filthy looking red and white bobble hat upon his head. He was looking very filthy, and he was wearing a bobble hat with the turns and, little twisted and turned type of hat. Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave when you burst in. So give me some minutes before I get ready. Right? Which reminds me, Jackson turned his eyes on Stephens. Make sure you take his razor out of the cell. So, one of the officer tells the other one, the senior to the junior one, when he has done all these things, take the razor from him back. After he has done scraping that ugly mug of his, when he has shaved and cleaned his face, take all the things. One of these days, he'll do us all a favor and cut his bloody throat. By these things, it is quite risky to allow him to keep all these things. He may do any sort of favors to us. Right? For a few seconds, Evans looked thoughtfully at the man standing ramrod straight in front of him. A string of Second World War medals proudly paraded over his left breast pocket. Mr. Jackson, was it you who took my nail scissors away? Now he asked, did you take my nail scissors and all? Evans had always worried about his hands. And your nail file too. I have taken your nail file too. Look for a moment, Evans' eye. Look. For a moment, Evans' eyes smoldered dangerously. But Jackson was ready for this because he has taken these things. And he also says, orders of the governor, Evans. As being ordered by the governor, I have taken all your things. He leaned forward and leered, his voice dropping to a harsh, contemptuous whisper. You want to complain? That contemptuous look was there in the officer's eyes. You want to complain? Evans shrugged his shoulders lightly. The crisis was over. Evans reflected as if he doesn't want to complain, and this conflict got over. Right? You have got half an hour to smarten yourself up, Evans, and take that bloody hat off. Now, Evans plays a small trick here. He calls this hat as a lucky charm. Evans put his right hand lovingly on the top of the filthy foolen and smiled sadly. Do you know, Mr. Jackson, it is the only thing that has ever brought me any sort of luck in life. Kind, oh lucky charm. It's my lucky thing. If you know what I mean. And today I thought, well, with me exam and all that, I would, like to use this because it is lucky for me. Right, so this way, with the conversation of the secretary and the governor and Jackson and Stephens, we come to know what type of man is Evans. Right, dear students, we continue this lesson tomorrow. Okay, I hope this much part is clear. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So we'll continue tomorrow, right? with this chapter. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you.